What is up, everybody? I am back, and today I am looking at the evolution of Leatherface. At the time, I wasn't exactly sure what character I was going to cover after Spider-Man, so I put a poll on my channel, and a lot of people voted for Leatherface. The first one is so guttural and gritty, but it's very bloodless. And then the second one, it came out 10 years later, I believe, and it just ramps things up to cartoony levels of gore, cartoony dialogue. It's all just this weird fever dream movie, and I love it for that. You know, I might give more props to the original, but if I'm watching a Leatherface movie, I'm watching number 2. Now, the third and fourth parts, while I think they are supposed to be in continuity, they don't really line up fully. So they kind of all act as their own little reboot, and then you get the reboot series, which I think was actually pretty good. The first one is a well done movie. It's one of the better ones of those remakes that were coming out in the 2000s, and they brought the original cinematographer back from the first one, which was an amazing call. Some people like that better than the original. I don't blame them. It's a really good remake. Then there was Leatherface 3D or whatever it's called that ignores everything that happened other than the first movie. That one wasn't great. Yeah, then we have the prequel that kind of works as its own little trilogy, and that one I just dislike a lot. And recently there's been a Netflix reboot again. So yeah, let's watch the evolution of Leatherface.
What you are about to see is the result of multiple production companies milking a long-dormant franchise, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Specifically, it's about Leatherface. In 1974, he slashed his way onto the silver screen, and he's since appeared in 7 more films. This is his evolution. Animated.
So that whole intro with the sliding text, it's obviously a homage to the original film. And I believe a lot of the sequels use that same kind of gimmick where this is a real story. And I found someone on Fiverr, he had just a very similar cadence to the original narrator from that film. I thought he did a really good job, and I was very afraid to do this because the first 20 seconds, 23 seconds of the video, there's not really any animation at all. But I was I need to do this as a homage to the series. If people don't know too much about this franchise, really going to be a good way to catch them up. This version that appears in the opening, it's the version from the second movie because I love that movie so much. It's my favorite in the franchise.
Leatherface first appears in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, sporting an apron and face mask with large misformed ears and dark brown hair. He switches into a more grandmotherly attire to meal prep before putting on his Sunday best and a makeup-covered mask.
This is one of my favorite looks for Leatherface. I like this pretty woman mask. He kind of wears it when he sits down for dinner. Every single look that Leatherface has is kind of a different personality for him in this film. The first look that he sports, this is called his killing mask, where this is what he uses to attack people. This one here is the one that he's using to prep meals and stuff. That's the grandmotherly look. And then this one is when he sits down for dinner. He's ready to eat in this look. So there we go.
And a makeup-covered mask just in time for family dinner.
The family is very important in this film because he's really not the bad guy. Leatherface isn't the bad guy of this franchise. His family are the bad guys. Grandpa's a sicko who sucks on the blood of characters. His brother here is the cook who gets the meat. They all worked at this meat factory that got shut down. This is his other brother who's completely insane.
Dinner. In the sequel, which takes place 13 years later, Leatherface is thinner and wears a heavily stitched mask with messy hair and a fancy tuxedo.
This look is a lot more funny looking. It matches the tone of the film.
He falls in love with a radio.
And this actress here, she's also in Leprechaun 3. She's the woman who blows up in my animation, who gets enlarged. So she's appeared in 2 of my videos now, but she's kind of this cult horror movie actress.
DJ. But the romance is interrupted when he faces off.
And then Dennis Hopper. Yeah, it's almost a Star Wars style battle at the end, but with chainsaws instead.
Off against a vengeful lieutenant, resulting in an explosion no man could survive.
Yeah, that's probably about as gruesome as this video gets, is the little explosion there. This is a very bloodless video. This is probably less violent than even my Spider-Man video.
Somehow, in Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, wearing an orange dress shirt, brown pants, and a leg brace.
Leg brace. Oh yeah, I noticed this I was watching through these videos again, and the bottom of the leg brace
shirt, brown pants,
appears after the brown pants come on, so you can see the leg brace right down there at the bottom before the brace actually comes on. Whoops!
And a leg brace. His mask features an angrier expression with shaggy hair. This time,
I kind of like the look for part 3. I have an action figure of it. It's actually kind of a cool look.
Leatherface has a young daughter he's raising.
I'm not sure if that's his daughter or his niece or whatnot, but like they kind of act like family in this one. Family's very important. Family is Saw.
But he gets hit with a...
Or Saw is family? What is the slogan?
Saw! The Saw is family!
rock, then drowns in the swamp. But his death is short-lived. And in Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, Leatherface is now chunkier and has longer, curlier hair poking through a darker mask. He wears a long white tee,
Yeah, I really don't like this look.
a camo jacket, and an orange apron.
It just looks off. I don't know. The mask in the film looks like so fake looking.
Later, he briefly steps into another grandma-esque apron and mask, and eventually settles on a younger female look with a sleek black dress to show off his new curvy figure.
So this film kind of follows the same storyline sort of as the first one, where like every single like mask he wears is like a different mask. So there's his killing mask, his cooking mask, and his like eating for dinner mask. I just think they went a little too far in that direction, and like this look is like maybe a little bit offensive to like the trans community. To me, it's like a little too far.
Finally, it's revealed that Leatherface is being paid by an Illuminati-type organ.
Yeah, I don't understand the Illuminati thing in this. I don't know if it's supposed to be like the actual Illuminati or just like some like movie version of that, but he has these weird tattoos, and like if you look closely, he has like earrings on his like stomach. It's so weird, like loops or hoops or whatever they are. And this is Renee Zellweger. She and Matthew McConaughey, they fought very hard to not have this movie be released because they made this before they became like famous, and then they got famous from other movies that they did, so it got like a very hush-hush release, and like they were not very proud of the film, although I think like Matthew McConaughey has talked about it more recently in like a better light.
Organization to scare unsuspecting victims, or something like that. But it doesn't matter, because this timeline would be forgotten for a reboot
As soon as they put on this mask, this version of Leatherface is just screaming the whole time. It's so annoying.
series. Starting with the reboot prequel, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Beginning, we see a baby Leatherface, apparently born with a skin disorder, get tossed into a dumpster. He's saved from the garbage and grows into a muscular man wearing a leather muzzle to cover his face. After getting fired from
I kind of like the muzzle look for him in this film. It's interesting looking.
the slaughterhouse job, he fashions a young male mask with curly hair.
But yeah, I don't like this mask. It's too fresh looking in the film, not worn up. Like it's all based on like one person's skin, I believe. So like doesn't look like a Leatherface mask. It just looks like someone else's face on top of him. Yeah, not great.
In the original reboot, Leatherface's hair is shorter, his clothes darker and ragged, and he's wearing arm protectors. His mask is gray with a furrowed brow.
Yeah, I like this look a lot better. It's a bit more rotted looking, a bit more gray, a little less human looking almost. And just like the way the lip kind of curls up and the eyes are a little bit squished and then the one's more open. It's kind of cool looking.
And for a short while, he also dons a mustachioed
This mask is not good looking though. It just has that fresh look to it, which I do not like for Leatherface.
mask. Despite losing an arm, he leaves a quick video behind before disappearing forever.
I think this is the first time I've ever did the
The reboots would be dropped in order
like draw a circle and then have the character drop. Kind of very Bugs Bunny-ish, I guess.
to make a direct sequel to the original. Picking up where the first movie left off, Leatherface is shown once again in a slightly altered Sunday Best ensemble, when his house
I do not like how they altered the Sunday Best. They should have got a different actor to play him in the opening here. Someone who's a bit more like the actual body type of the original Gunnar Hansen, is it? I believe. It's not great.
is set on fire, he's assumed to be dead, only to reappear 40 years later.
So a lot of people thought that was a reference to Halloween H2O, H20. It's actually a reference to the troubled production of this particular reboot here. Originally, it was scripted to be like 20 years later, so that would make sense for his like cousin to be like 20 years old because it was a baby at the time. But instead, they changed it to be more modern day instead of being set in the 90s, and you're like, this doesn't really make any sense. She's clearly not a 40-year-old woman. There's trouble production on all these films. It's just like ridiculous. So that's a reference to that.
He starts by wearing a red shirt, brown pants and apron, and a dark, uneven mask, then upgrades to
I kind of like this look though for him,
a pale, unshapely
but I think I like this look better. This is his final look, I guess, in the film.
mask. He meets his long-lost, oddly attractive cousin,
His oddly attractive cousin, and that's what's her name? The girl from True Detective.
who eventually helps him face off against the people who burned down his house. The origin film
And that's one of the first times where the character actually runs towards the camera. So that was kind of tricky for me to do because I don't like doing run cycles. And doing like a run cycle where someone comes towards the camera, even worse.
Who burned down his house. The origin film, Leatherface, depicts a young child Leatherface wearing a cow head. He's tossed into an institution and grows into a large young man built exactly how we remember him. Oops, never mind, that's the wrong character. He's actually this skinny, handsome boy.
Like, I think it's funny how he just kind of like walks off like, huh? Oh, sorry. Because that's a reference to it in the film. It's a prequel, and all these kids are like put into this like foster care system, so you're kind of not sure which one is Leatherface. Although, like, if you look at the poster, it's clearly not like the bigger guy. It's like a very odd choice trying to make this a mystery.
He falls for an attractive nurse and breaks out of the institution. When his face becomes disfigured, he decides to, shall we say, act out and start wearing skin masks.
So he gets shot and then just immediately becomes this like psycho creepo. Anyone could become Leatherface. It's like, what? These are very extraordinary circumstances that cause this guy to become Leatherface.
Because, well, he's angry, I guess. I don't know, I'm just waiting for the prequel sequel where he grows 6 inches and gains 200 pounds to become the Leatherface.
There you go. 100% human protein. So that was kind of based on protein that I was taking at the time. And I think it says gluten-free on it because I have a gluten allergy.
We actually care about.
There you go. That is the evolution of Leatherface. I'll show you guys the VHS tapes that I have of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the first film. And then here's the remake. This is one of the later VHS tapes released, I believe. And here is Leatherface from part 2. I just really like the face sculpt on this. It's like so goofy looking. So yeah, I'm really a big fan of the Leatherface character. Not as big a fan of the series, but I still really like it a lot. It's probably lower tiered than A Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, the Fly franchise. But you know what? I like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise for what it is. It's very messy. It's obviously very low budget, but it has big ideas, and it's like a commentary on like small town jobs like going like bust, the Vietnam War, and like all the effects that that had on people. And it was kind of based on Agin, the serial killer. Then like the sequels have their own commentary going on. Let me know what you guys thought of this video when it was released. Let me know what you guys thought about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre franchise in general. Have you seen all the movies in it? I would suggest watching them if you're a fan of horror. It's a fun franchise. So, until next time, I've been Aaron, and I'll tell you something later. Whoops!